Our story begins inside a rundown building, where a boy named Song Jiao can be seen bound to a table. Standing before him is a girl named Shen Jiao, holding a whip and demanding to know his name and why he has broken into their base. Song Jiao, struggling against his restraints, replies defiantly, "How many times do I have to tell you? My name is Song Jiao, and I was just passing by." Unconvinced, Shen Jiao dismisses his explanation, accusing him of carrying 2 barrels of precious tomatoes while monsters roam the area. A little girl named Shen Jiamei, who is munching on a tomato, chimes in and assures them that the tomatoes contain no harmful substances other than a bit of pesticide residue. Shen Jiao, feeling a headache coming on, realizes that the boy may not be as dangerous as she initially thought. Looking at the 2 sisters, Song Jiao musters the courage to ask them to release him. Shen Jiao, wielding her whip threateningly, scoffs at his naivety and warns him not to try any tricks. She asserts her dominance, claiming that being in their hands, known as the West City Duo, should be enough to scare him into cooperation. Pinning him down, Shen Jiao demands to know where he obtained the tomatoes, gripping his shirt tightly. Feeling fear wash over him, Song Jiao contemplates the fact that he has indeed traveled to an apocalyptic world. Realizing how dangerous it is, he acknowledges that meeting these sisters may have saved him from the zombies lurking on the road. Sensing their dominance, he decides to reveal his intentions, to trade with them in exchange for their help. He offers them more tomatoes in return for their assistance, hoping they can aid him in accomplishing certain tasks. Hearing this, Shen Jiao is astonished and asks if he has even more tomatoes. She then probes further, inquiring about the nature of the exchange and whether he is involved in the slave trade. Shen Jiamei interrupts, complaining about the sourness of the tomatoes and declaring her craving for greens and eggs. Shen Jiao explains that eggs are scarce in this mutated world, and chickens lay inedible eggs. This revelation leaves Song Jiao contemplating the scarcity of basic commodities in this post-apocalyptic realm. Recognizing that he can provide vegetables and eggs, Song Jiao realizes he can fulfill their basic needs. After all, they have been hungry for a while, and even the most basic items have become rare. Understanding the dire situation, Song Jiao contemplates making a profit while he can. He considers the needs of his seriously ill parents and his sister, who requires education funds. Finding himself in this strange new world after appearing from a mysterious ring, he decides to seize the opportunity to secure a better life for his family. Shen Jiao responds, listing potential items for trade, such as energy modules or laser pulse guns. She even mentions the possibility of acquiring beautiful women as slaves. Shocked by the idea, Song Jiao wonders if he could trade a beautiful woman for eggs or vegetables. Shen Jiao grabs his collar and accuses him of being deeply involved in the slave trade. Flustered, Song Jiao denies the accusation, explaining that he is more interested in acquiring valuable items like jewelry, diamonds, and gold. Perplexed by his desire for such items, Shen Jiao questions his motives, reminding him of the desolate wasteland outside where such treasures have become worthless. However, Song Jiao counters, highlighting the difference in needs between their base and his own. He proposes a mutually beneficial trade, stating that they need food while he requires gold, silver, and jewelry. They reach an agreement, with Shen Jiao determining that 1 tomato will be exchanged for 10 kilograms of gold or items of similar value. Taking a tomato, Shen Jiao bites into it, savoring its taste. She remarks that she hasn't enjoyed something so clean in years. As Song Jiao takes his leave, he looks back at the sisters, who continue eating the tomatoes. Leaving the room, he breathes a sigh of relief, grateful for his escape. Holding the golden ring in his hand, he realizes that this simple trinket was the catalyst for his dimension hopping. And slightly rubbed it into dimension portal appears engulfing him inside it. Opening his eyes as he looked around, he realized that he had returned, and thought of the ring. It was an ordinary ring he had obtained from a street vendor, leaving him to wonder about the identity of the old man who sold it to him before being chased away by the police. Lost in his thoughts, Song Jiao's contemplation is interrupted by a woman shouting at him to stop. She angrily demands payment of the 10,000 yuan that his family owes her. Song Jiao recognizes her as Auntie Zhang, and he desperately tries to appease her, explaining that he needs a few more days to repay the debt. His parents suffer from serious illnesses, and he borrowed money for their treatments. Determined to give his family a better life, he planned to repay everything after acquiring the gold. However, Auntie Zhang refuses to listen and berates Song Jiao for his failure to meet the deadline. She cruelly insults his parents, suggesting that they would be better off dead. Consumed by rage, Song Jiao slams his fist against the wall, intimidating Auntie Zhang and asserting his determination to repay the debt the following day. Fearful, Auntie Zhang retreats, threatening to bring someone to collect the money if he fails to pay. As Song Jiao examines his bruised hand, he contemplates using this opportunity to change his family's circumstances. The next day, he prepares 2 barrels filled with various vegetables and readies himself to go. Rubbing the ring, a transportation portal materializes before him, beckoning him to step through. As he emerged on the other side, a gun barrel pressed against his forehead, instilling fear within him. Shen Jiao demanded to know why he took so long and why he suddenly disappeared the day before, accompanied by a smiley face. Feeling the cold touch of the metal against his skin, Song Jiao's fear intensified, but he tried to soothe her, explaining that he had simply gone back to fetch some food. Shen Jiao questioned him, puzzled, asking about the food. Song Jiao clarified that they had wanted eggs and vegetables, so he had gone in search of them. However, it turned out that Shen Jiao had already taken care of it and was now eagerly drooling over the food while calling out for her sister. Witnessing the abundance of food, Shen Jiao couldn't help but feel joyous and urged Song Jiao to cook for them. The 2 sisters were soon seen eagerly devouring the food as Song Jiao served them. Observing him, Shen Jiao couldn't resist asking if he was hiding the food somewhere nearby. She reminded him that within a 10-kilometer radius of their base, there were only zombies and mutated beasts. She questioned where he had managed to find so much food. Feeling nervous, Song Jiao assured her that whenever he went out, he always took enough food with him, so there was no need to worry. He added, "Now that you've had your dinner, let's discuss working together. Is there a vault nearby?" Enjoying a cherry, Shen Jiao responded, "No, this is the western suburbs of Linjian City. There are only residential areas around here, no vaults. And even if there were, we wouldn't have the equipment to open them." Upon hearing this, Song Jiao's anger flared, accusing her of being a fraud and claiming that she had lied about giving him 10 kilograms of gold for a single tomato. Shen Jiao teasingly remarked, "Nice memory," and continued with a smile, "There might not be a vault, but there are villas. What you're seeking should be in those villas." Feeling anxious, Shen Jiao insisted on searching for the gold. Understanding his desperation, she compromised and instructed her sister to remain behind and guard the base. She made it clear that if there were any intruders, her sister should shoot them. With that settled, Shen Jiao and Song Jiao left the location together. As they stepped out of the building, Shen Jiao tossed a watch at Song Jiao, instructing him to put it on. As he examined the bracelet-like device, Song Jiao couldn't help but wonder if it was some kind of toy. Curiosity piqued, he asked Shen Jiao how it worked. Shen Jiao, feeling a bit wary, responded by asking if he didn't even know how to use it. Song Jiao quickly made an excuse, claiming that he wasn't a combatant and had never even laid eyes on the monster she had mentioned. Letting out a sigh, Shen Jiao fiddled with her armor and explained, "This is a multifunctional soldier watch. It can not only track your position, but also detect radiation and allow you to communicate with your teammates." As a virtual helmet materialized on her head, she grabbed Song Jiao's shirt and pulled him towards a futuristic-looking bike, telling him that he could study the watch as they rode. Observing the bike, Song Jiao was amazed and thought to himself, "Wow, it doesn't even have wheels." Sitting on the bike, Shen Jiao teased him, asking if he was from this world or not, since he didn't even recognize an all-terrain maglev. Feeling guilty, Song Jiao hastily replied, "Of course I'm from this world." Shen Jiao glanced at him for a moment, dismissing the question, and told him to hold on as she started the bike's engine. Feeling a sense of fear, Song Jiao instinctively hugged Shen Jiao from behind as they sped along the path. Glancing around, he commented on how quiet it was and asked why there was such an eerie silence. Shen Jiao reminded him, "I've already told you, we've cleared this area multiple times. There's nothing out here except for zombies and mutated beasts." Just as she finished speaking, a mutated rat suddenly flew towards them. Reacting quickly, Song Jiao shouted, "Watch out." Shen Jiao effortlessly drew her gun and shot the rat, casually remarking, "Don't make a big deal out of it, it's just a rat." Feeling concerned about what lay ahead, Song Jiao inquired about selling the gun. He asked how much food it would fetch and suggested an exchange. Shen Jiao chuckled and replied, "The laser gun is practically worthless. If you want it, you can have it for an egg once we reach Linjiang base." Upon hearing Shen Jiao's offer of an egg in exchange for the gun, Song Jiao couldn't help but contemplate the value of being heavily armed in this apocalyptic world. As they arrived at their destination, Shen Jiao instructed him to stay close and not venture off alone. She warned him that it had been a while since she had been in this area. Together, they entered the villa, Shen Jiao loading her guns in preparation. Taking in the sight, Song Jiao observed the opulent decorations of the villa, tainted with bloodstains. As they made their way upstairs, Shen Jiao directed him straight to the master bedroom, explaining that valuable items were usually kept there. Once inside the bedroom, Song Jiao glanced around and remarked, "Doesn't look like there's much here." Let's move on. Shen Jiao appeared in front of a large mirror and delivered a powerful kick, shattering it. To Song Jiao's astonishment, a hidden safe was revealed behind the broken mirror. Curious, he asked how she knew about the secret door. Shen Jiao casually replied that her own house used to be even more lavish than this one, so such hiding spots were not uncommon. She simply hadn't bothered looking for it before. She forcefully broke the lock with her gun and opened the safe, prompting them to enter. Shen Jiao instructed Song Jiao to search for anything he desired while they were inside. They would pack up and move on to the next villa. Inside the safe, Song Jiao's eyes widened as he beheld a large golden ship. The thought of newfound wealth filled his mind as he carefully examined it. Then, from the corner of his eye, he noticed a ring adorned with a brilliant green gem atop it. He couldn't help but think, this must be a valuable item, hidden away in this secluded safe room. He stowed the ring safely and took hold of the golden ship, announcing, "I'm ready, let's go." However, their progress was interrupted by a noise emanating from outside. Filled with fear, Song Jiao quickly asked what was happening. Shen Jiao positioned herself behind the safe door and replied, "I hear something." She approached a nearby window and manipulated her watch, asking, "Is it them?" Curiously, Song Jiao approached her and inquired about the situation. He asked if it was a friend of hers. Shen Jiao responded, "No, just some assholes from the southern suburbs. They've been attempting to sell us into slavery multiple times." She gestured toward the scene unfolding below. "Now, those guys are being attacked by a swarm of mutated hornets," she added, observing their predicament. Shen Jiao's tone turned cold as she remarked, "They deserve it." Peering out of the window, Shen Jiao formulated a plan in her mind. "These bastards are being attacked by hornets. If we strike now, we might be able to get rid of them once and for all," determinedly Shen Jiao said. "Before they spot us, we jump out of the window." With those words, she leapt out of the window while saying "let's go," and Song Jiao followed suit. Unfortunately, upon landing, he twisted his ankle, prompting Shen Jiao to remark, "You're in terrible shape, aren't you? Have you never been injected with genetic enhancers?" As they hurriedly ran, Song Jiao inquired if genetic enhancers could be purchased. Shen Jiao responded amidst their sprint, "About 30 eggs for one," and instructed him to focus on running without further conversation. Suddenly, a gunshot came towards them, indicating that they had been spotted by a man who called out for their help. Shen Jiao swiftly fired back while loudly refusing, "No way." She then offered Song Jiao a gun and instructed him to join in the shooting. Song Jiao, faced with the unfamiliar weapon, felt overwhelmed and wondered, "What am I going to do?" Unfazed by the onslaught of enemy fire, Shen Jiao urged him, "Come on, hold the gun and help me shoot." Determined, Song Jiao reluctantly took the gun in his hands. Confused, he admitted, "Well, I don't know how to use a gun." Shen Jiao, feeling frustrated, muttered to herself, "What bad luck for me to accept this job." She manipulated her watch, causing an object to materialize in her hand. Song Jiao, curious, asked, "What's this?" Shen Jiao responded, "Flashbang and smoke grenades." She threw them out, reminding Song Jiao, "Don't forget to bring food for reimbursement." The smoke grenade detonated, obscuring the enemy's vision and allowing them to escape. Bullets whizzed past them, and one grazed Shen Jiao's arm, injuring her. Concerned, Song Jiao called out her name, asking if she was okay. In pain, Shen Jiao reassured him, "It's nothing. Don't worry about me." "Keep running." They continued their frantic escape as the hornets buzzed and attacked from all directions. In a swift motion, Shen Jiao leapt into the air and landed on her bike. She stretched out her hand and urged Song Jiao to grab hold. Acting quickly, he grabbed her hand and settled in behind her. Together, they sped away on the bike, leaving the enemy shouting Shen Jiao's name in frustration and defeat. And this is how the first part of this manhwa ends. Well, guys, if you liked this video and want a part 2, comment below with the word part 2.